Hello everyone, it is Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. Thank you for taking the time to check out my video. If any of this information is interesting or useful, please like, please subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel to help people understand what it's like moving around the globe, carrying gold, carrying silver, and dealing with local coin shops all over the world. I travel professionally for work, so I have lots of experience, lots of opportunity to try buying, try selling in different places all around the world. So if you're curious or you're trying to learn more about what that's like, given all the information that's floating around on the internet that makes it sound difficult or somehow challenging to buy and sell in foreign countries and then bring it back home, this is the place for you. So please subscribe if this is interesting to you. So my most recent experience was I just returned a couple days ago from Portugal. This particular trip was vacation, but I did bring gold with me. I planned on trying to buy. I had enough to buy 1 ounce, so I was in the market and shopping in Europe for a 1 ounce gold coin. So I was out with my girlfriend walking around in Lisbon, Portugal. I did search, so I knew where there was a couple of shops. So I kind of had those on our agenda for the day to get close and then stop by when we had a chance. So here you go. Here's a video. I didn't want to film inside the shop, because I think it's challenging sometimes in different parts of the world. You're not sure about English. So I didn't want to walk in, but I did make this video you're about to see out front of the shop, and then I did another one you'll see after of me leaving. So here we go. Okay, so I'm in Lisbon, Portugal, going by this place called Numismatica Diamantino, and I'm going in to pick up hopefully a 1 ounce gold coin. So I'm not going to try to film in there. English is not great, so I'll update after. So I don't know what the problem was this time with Numismatica Diamantino. I just went in there to buy a 1 ounce Krugerrand, and for some reason it was charging an extra $125 conversion fee. Problem I haven't had. I had them return the money and try a second time, and it did it again. So it's one of those things, never quite able to understand what the problem is, but I had to give the coin back. Okay, so what you just saw was me entering the shop and then leaving the shop several minutes later. This time, I don't know what the deal was or what the difficulty was, but I walked in, I spotted in the window they had a 1979 South African Krugerrand. It was in flawless condition. It looked really nice, and I personally like the older Krugerrands. I think after 1991, something changed. If you look at a pre-1991 versus a post-1991, there's a visible difference. I do have a couple of 1 ounce Krugerrands, and they look like they're brass. If you put them on a verifier, they do check out, so they are still the same gold content, but they look like brass, they look like copper. I've showed them to people who don't know much about gold, and they don't even believe that they're gold. I have to put it on the verifier. But when you get to the earlier versions, well before 1991, it still looks like gold. It has a tiny brownish tint, but just by looking at it, it's clear that it's gold. So I saw the 1979 South African Krugerrand in the window, and I was going to buy it. So I walked into the shop, and there was some slight difficulty with language. Their English was about 80%, wasn't perfect, but it was good enough to communicate. So what they were asking, you can see, I have the receipt right here. You can see they were asking 2,330 euro, which the conversion rate for that day was 1.16. So it came out to pretty close to what you would expect. I was checking the online dealers for what I should expect to pay that day. And this was ballpark. It came within $30, $40. It was slightly high, but I was okay with that. I was okay with paying the slightly extra premium. So I told them to go ahead, and I'm going to make the purchase. So there was two people in the shop. There was a man and a woman. It was clear that the woman knew what was going on much better than the man. They were having a little squabbling over the credit card machine. The man was reaching over and hitting buttons, and they were speaking Portuguese, so I wasn't quite understanding what was going on. That can be frustrating when you're buying in a foreign country, when you're dealing with so much money. It's like, I don't want any conversations taking place where I don't know what's being said. But at the end of the day, I can tell how much I'm paying, and I guess the bottom line is all that really matters. So they went ahead, they did the transaction. I had the Krugerrand in my hand. My girlfriend was next to me, and I was explaining to her the history, South African Krugerrand, and all that kind of stuff. So I was pretty excited to get this because I'd been looking for an older Krugerrand for quite a while. But just as the approval portion of the credit card transaction was completing, I saw $2,700 and I think it was $2,710 flash across the screen. And then the approval went through. And I immediately got a text message from Capital One that says, a transaction just went through on your card for $2,710. So the price that we had agreed on, I should have been paying, if I remember correctly, it was $2,500 and I think $70, which was slightly high, like I said, but close enough to what I was finding on the online US dealers. So I was still going to do it. And then I showed the lady the text. I said, something just happened, and it went through for over $2,700. And then she, had another little squabble with the guy in the shop. And they were looking at the credit card machine, and he hit a button or something. This is the impression that I'm getting because I don't speak Portuguese. So they credited my account, and I was able to monitor this in real time. So I saw the credit go through on my Capital One card, and then she took charge of the machine, did the transaction, and it went through a second time. So I got two receipts here. One of them is for the transaction, one of them is for the credit. And then the second time it went through, the exact same thing happened. It went through for $2,710, somewhere around there. So I think this line right here, markup where it says 5%, I think it's got something to do with a markup coupled with the conversion. We were never able to understand what the problem was. The lady said she takes U.S. credit cards regularly. This was nothing new for her. But in any case, we're unable to get it down to the price that we agreed on. So I asked her to abort the transaction altogether. I was very disappointed. I did want that Krugerrand, but I wasn't about to pay that high of a premium for it. So I left the shop. And then my girlfriend and I continued to walk around, and I spotted another shop. There's actually quite a few shops in Lisbon, Portugal, and Porto. Those are the two major cities that I visited, and there were shops dotted all around. So I went into this other shop that specialized in numismatics, which is not typically, I don't really care about the collector value. I'm just looking for 1 ounce gold. I have a few things I kind of target, but I'm not going to pay super high premiums. So in this other shop, I spotted this, which I don't know if you can get the focus. This is a 1975 Soviet Union Chevronet or Chevronet. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but it's in really good condition. This is 22 karat gold, 0.91. I've seen these online. I've never had one, or I certainly wasn't looking for it, but I do have an interest in Cold War history. I have some other collectibles, things like that. I grew up during the Cold War, so I remember as a child the videos of goose-stepping soldiers and the speech, Ronald Reagan, the evil empire. So I was very fascinated with the Soviet Union, still to this day. So yeah, you can see here, it's actually a pretty coin. Let me see if I can get the focus. Can't quite get it, but it's in really good shape. There's something written on the side in Russian. I don't speak Russian, so yeah, I'm gonna have to translate this. Not sure what it says. So I went ahead and grabbed this. The guy was asking a little bit high. I went on to the online dealers and checked, American Eagle, so I was willing to pay high 600, 680, 690 was kind of what I was hoping for. He was originally asking in euros, but what the conversion was somewhere around 740 US dollars, which I wasn't willing to pay, but he did come down. So here's the receipt here. He ended up charging me 625 euro, which came out to 690 US dollars. So I was okay. There's more information on the other side of this receipt, but it shows my name and other personal information. So I did take it, and here you can see, yeah, it's very nice, and it's just a cool piece of history to have, I think. So I was okay with this deal. And I did also ask this guy if he would be willing to buy. And yeah, it looked like no problem. He was willing to pay basically spot. So I would have had no trouble selling in Portugal. He, on the spot, yeah, he said he would take walk-ins. So generally, there was also a third shop that I visited and asked them if they were willing to buy. They said at the moment they were not, but generally they do. So, there's a lot of information out there, like I said before, about difficulty moving gold, carrying gold, buying gold, selling gold. And for the most part, I've pretty much had no problem. So again, in my return to the United States, I traveled through I boarded my original flight in Porto. I flew to Lisbon, Portugal. Then I went from Lisbon, Portugal into Boston, US. So I went through a total of 6 airports, because I did 3 on the way there and then 3 on the way back, carrying this tube right here. This is a Philharmonic's 1-ounce silver tube, full. I didn't have it full of silver. I had it half silver and I had it half gold. So these 1-ounce Britannias and Buffaloes, same Buffaloes or Eagles. Once you put them into the capsule, they fit right into the tube. So, and then I keep the gold coins on top. So airport security does show interest. Not every time, but it seems like, I don't know, maybe half and half. They spot a cylinder, metal-shaped object, a tube full, and then they ask, what is that? And this is literally how it goes. I get pulled out of the line. They say, what is that? They show you on the screen. I say, that's a tube of coins. And they say, show it to me. I take it out of my bag. I go like this. There's a gold coin on top of Britannia. And they say, okay, and they flag you through. They show no interest in how much gold is in there. What's the value? It's a little bit puzzling to me, honestly, because if this is full, this could be 50,000 US. So it's quite surprising to me how little interest that they show. And I've carried this through all over the United States. I've carried it through dozens of airports all across Europe, Taiwan, South Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia. I did a trip last year to Indonesia. So I've carried it through any kind of government you can possibly think of in any country all across the world, and no place has any kind of curiosity about, why do you have this gold? How much is it worth? Did you declare it? It's just no interest whatsoever. So don't let anybody tell you that it's difficult to move around the globe with gold. It's just simply not true. So if they don't ask any questions about this, I don't see any this full. I don't see any reason why I couldn't have 2 or 3 of the, your life savings could be in your backpack. And I don't think anybody will bother you or ask you any questions about it. So, okay, I think I'm going to wrap up there. You don't want to get these too long. People lose interest. But the comment section is open. Please like, please subscribe. If you have any particular country you're curious about, I can cover all the major hubs. I've carried gold all over the world, so please feel free to ask questions in the comments section, and I'll let you know if I've been through that airport and what my experience was like. So again, thanks for visiting, thanks for watching the video, and have a good day. Thank you.